Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bridging the Geekdoms. And today is yet another special presentation of BTG Free Talk. We are going to be dissecting and taking a look at the latest breaking news where DC Studios now have who is going to take charge, who is going to lead them into the next 10 years of filmmaking. So, we're going to talk about that. We're going to take a look at that, what it means for DC moving forward, what every fandom should care about, what they shouldn't care about, and why this isn't a good thing. So, how's it going, everybody? Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, all that jazz. Do those things there because it helps us become better, more noticed. I don't know, all that SEO and algorithm stuff, all that stuff. All right, so let's get into it here, guys. So, I mean, if you haven't heard, do you live under a rock? I mean, the last 2 days have been absolutely insane in regards to DC, Warner Brothers type of news. Yesterday, we had the big reveal by Henry Cavill himself that he is back as Superman and they're planning things and there's things in motion. It's going to happen. I know I'm excited. I hope you're all excited about it. I did about a 45 minute long video yesterday discussing all of that. So make sure you check out that video for all of my input on Henry Cavill being back. But today we got some ginormous news here. And really now for the past 2 or 3 months, we've been wondering who's going to be heading this new DC studios that they're creating. Zaslav wanted to put DC in its own studio to rival Marvel Studios, essentially. We thought it was going to be Justin Lin. Those talks fell through, unfortunately. But today, Warner Brothers Discovery announces, we are thrilled to announce James Gunn and Peter Safran to be co-chairmen and CEOs of DC Studios. We're honored to be the stewards of these DC characters we've loved since we were children and look forward to collaborating with the most talented writers, directors, and actors in the world to create an integrated, multi-layered universe. What do you guys think about this? If you guys are watching, listening, throw it down in the comments before you hear my take and a logical reasoning behind all of this. Throw down in the comments what you think right now about this situation. James Gunn, Peter Safran coming in, heading DC Studios. I mean, honestly, think about it. I mean, you have to sit here and think. We've been wanting somebody who can take control. And obviously, there's a section of the fandom of DC fans who wanted Zack Snyder and Debbie Snyder to come in. And it wasn't going to happen. I know people wanted it to happen. It wasn't going to happen. But let's take a look at this logically, realistically, okay? Peter Safran has been within the Warner Brothers family per se for a number of years. He has produced almost every single horror film that has come out of Warner Brothers in some form or fashion. He's worked very close with what's his name? James Wan. He has worked with James Gunn in the past as well. He has a connection to Warner Brothers. So it makes sense that he's brought in because he understands what Warner Brothers attempts to do and what they want to do with their brand. And he is a good producer. He's been producing for a number of years at this point in time. And, he produced, I believe both Peacemaker and Suicide Squad with James Gunn. On the flip side, we have James Gunn now. And where you have Peter Safran really taking charge with the producing and the production and making sure things are under budget and in budget and all that kind of stuff. James Gunn is going to be the creative head. He's going to be the one that's really trying to make the decisions and how to tie everything together to make it similar to that of Marvel. Here's one thing that's kind of shocking. And I hear people freaking out on social media about this. James Gunn has the privilege and the understanding of what Kevin Feige has accomplished. for the better part of a decade, he has worked with with Kevin Feige in some form or fashion. He's seen storyboards, and I'm not saying he's going to steal ideas from Feige. I don't believe he'll do that, but he's been in the writing room, in the sessions, and understanding where things are going and how they're going to go. And believe it or not, that is a huge benefit to DC at this point. Zaslav wants them to rival Marvel. Who better to get than somebody who understands and has seen what Marvel was doing and has an idea? No, he didn't have direct hands-on like Feige did, but he has been involved and he understands what it takes to create a cohesive story. Gunn was involved with 3 films, 1 special presentation coming up. He was part of the I Am Groot series in some form, I believe, just as producer. He also helped write the Guardians of the Galaxy for the Avenger films, Endgame and Infinity War. He has an understanding of a lot of this. Just that aspect. And the great thing about James Gunn is he's not dumb. He's not dumb. He's somebody who will sit there and do his homework. He will make sure that what he is doing is going to please the fans. The fans will appreciate what he's doing. And not just him, but what they're doing as a whole at DC Studios. The big question that keeps coming up with everybody, though, is what does this mean? What does this mean for, say, the Snyderverse? Because that's all a portion of the fandom on social media care about. It means exactly what it meant yesterday. It means exactly what it meant 2 days ago. It means exactly what it meant 6 months ago. The Snyderverse right now is not a main concern for Warner Brothers Discovery, if a concern at all. James Gunn has to come in, and he can't sit there and think, oh, let's go back to the past and right these wrongs. He has to look, he and Safran have to look towards the future. Where or how can we get to 10 years? How can we get to the year 2032 and be successful in doing so? Bringing Zach in to do his last 3 films in his 5 or 6 film arc or whatever it is isn't going to get them to 10 years. They need to properly sit down and plan this out. That is how Warner Brothers Discovery and DC Studios is going to be successful. All the people crying on social media, all the people freaking out because James Gunn, more than 10 years ago, tweeted out some inappropriate things and saying that, and not saying, but comparing him to Josh Whedon and saying that he's worse for women than Josh Whedon. Are you dumb? Take a look at what he's done with Guardians of the Galaxy. Gamora, Mantis, great female characters. Look at what he did with Harley Quinn. The focus of Suicide Squad was heavily on Harley Quinn and Ratcatcher. So to sit there and act like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing with women or blah, 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 it's ridiculous. Now, they do say, there are reports saying that not only will they be producers and the head of this studio, but they will have the opportunity to do their own projects as well. I do foresee James Gunn doing the Harley Quinn film that he's been wanting to do for quite some time. I do see him doing whatever he wanted to do with Deathstroke. I do see him doing these different things that he wants to do. But what's really great is he does have a lot of friends in Hollywood, some big directors. And yes, you can sit there and scream, Zack Snyder is a friend of his. You're right. They worked together on Dawn of the Dead back in 2002, 2003. James Gunn was a writer and Snyder was the director. Since then, Well, what have they done? I mean, they haven't done anything together since, but that doesn't mean they can't now. And as I've always said, you Snyder fans, you are going to come to an intersection. You're going to come to the realization at some point and realize that you're going to have two choices. You can either support DC without Snyder, or maybe get the chance to support DC with Snyder, but not his original arc. And it's going to be that first option. Snyder's doing his own thing. He may come back down the line, but I anytime soon, I don't see it happening. Nor should he at this point. Yesterday was a day to be excited. Cavill was back as Superman. Today is a day to be excited because we now have a leader for DC Studios, or leaders for DC Studios. We now have an idea of where they're going to go or how they're going to go. Everybody points to Suicide Squad and Peacemaker and like, this is the kind of stuff that James Gunn does, all the raunchiness, and that's his style. You really think that if they're making a movie about Wonder Woman, he's not going to get the right person in line for that job? Whether that's Patty Jenkins or not, it's not. He's not going to force his own spin, his own raunchiness on every single piece of entertainment that comes out of DC Studios. That's just asinine to think. He's a professional. And as I said just a little bit ago, he knows how to do this. He witnessed Kevin Feige doing it. He sees what he had to do. He understands what he had to do. It can't be any more plain and apparent to me that this is a good move. I could be wrong. In 2, 3, 4 years, his contract is for 4 years. I could be proven wrong. They could totally screw this up. They could make just absolute crap for the next 3, 4 years. But think of it this way. We had Walter Hamada for the better part of 5 years. And during that time, what did we get? Nothing like overly good when it comes to DCEU stuff, except for Peacemaker. Peacemaker really pulled a lot of people together. Even people who weren't big fans of Suicide Squad really enjoyed Peacemaker. That was a Gunn project. To me, the way I look at it is we have to give him a chance. We never truly gave Walter Hamada a chance. If you truly think about it, we never did, because he was never able to fully explore what he wanted to do. It took him so long to start getting things planned and on track that by the time things start coming out, he's ousted, he's gone. Some things came out before or during his time, absolutely. Birds of Prey and the Batman, Joker, different things like that. But, when it comes to the grander DCEU, there wasn't much that has come out. I don't think we ever gave him a true shot. I think a lot of people turned on Hamada during the Ray Fisher stuff. So, to me, we need to step back and say, look, this is a time where we have to sit back and let's see what James Gunn can do. What can he do? We know what kind of director he is. We know he has talent. We know he has skill. We also know that he's worked at Marvel and understands how Marvel handles their large universe. Peter Safran, you can take a look at his IMDb. You can see what he does or what he has done. And it's impressive. It truly, truly is impressive. Let's pull this up here. Man, it's crazy. Let me know your thoughts. I want to know what you all think about this, because I'm still shocked that there's so many people that are just upset about this. Because to me, it's a no-brainer. This is an absolute no-brainer that this is good for DC. It really is. All right, so let's take a look. Peter Safran, and we'll go down the list here. We'll go towards the bottom, all the way down. Look at his producing credits. All the way starting back, co-producers, executive producer 2000 for Scary Movie. And it just goes on. Now, are some of these great? I mean, Meet the Spartans, Scary Movie. They're shit, comedy and terrible films, but disaster movie. But he has the experience of being a producer. He understands how the business works. And you go up, and then you start to see a little change in the 2010s. And you start to see him doing The Conjuring, Anna, Annabelle, Dark Places, The Conjuring 2, The Belko Experiment. These are all huge hits. The Nun. And then we also have Aquaman and Shazam, The Suicide Squad. So he's been involved with DC films as well. And if you ask me, Aquaman is a great movie. It is truly a great movie. Yeah, there was some meddling that happened with it, but they were able to limit the meddling that happened, and it turned out to be a really, really good film. Shazam is underappreciated. People want to hate on that movie simply because it's not Snyder. It's not dark and gritty like Snyder because it had jokes. That's why people hate on it. And the Suicide Squad, again, I don't care what anybody says. It was an enjoyable film. It was never going to be an $800 million movie, a $700, $800, $900 movie. 800, 900 million. Yeah. I mean, it probably, without being day and date on HBO Max and all the crap going on with Warner Brothers, I could see it probably would have made $600 or $700 million. And that would have been fine. That would have been justifiable. But I mean, come on. And again, Peacemaker, and then he's part of Shazam, part of Aquaman. He's already in it. So I'm interested to see where this goes. Now let's take a look. I mean, it's not like we don't know who James Gunn is, but take a look at his credits going all the way back in the mid 90s. Let's not forget, he was the screenplay writer for Scooby-Doo. That movie slaps, guys. Man, I love that film. Scooby-Doo 2 wasn't as good as the first one, but hey, it's all right. Guys, throw in the chat what you think about this. We got James Gunn and Peter Safran heading DC Studios. This is fantastic. Look, you got Belko Experiment written by, and then you have the Guardians films, a music video, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. All right, we got a great comment here from Ryan. I agree. I can't fucking talk. I agree. Let's give James Gunn a chance. I love this pick, and this is coming from a Zack Snyder fan, but I am also a DC fan. I am looking forward to the future of DC films. Hey, Ryan, I am with you 100% on this. And this is what I've been trying to tell a lot of people for the better part of a year is I am a huge Snyder fan, but I also want to see DC films succeed. Whether it's with Snyder or without Snyder, I want to see DC films succeed. And I think there's a good chance of it succeeding with James Gunn and Peter Safran. I think they're in a better place than they were with Hamada. They are surely in a better place than they were with Jeff Johns and John Berg. They have the ability right now to, the sky is the limit for them. They have a Superman. Superman is back. Henry Cavill is back. They have a Superman. They have an Aquaman. They have a Wonder Woman. Batman is still a little up in the air there. Flash is still up in the air a little bit there. But when you have the 3 of the 5 core members of the Justice League, that is a hell of a start. Not only that, but they're all beloved. Fans love these actors and these characterizations. So all they have to do is build off of it. If they can bring back Affleck, by all means, do it. It'll be fantastic. We will all love to see it. We'll be there. We'll be there. Money will be thrown at the screen. Take all of my money. But the sky is the limit right now. With Walter Hamada, we had no idea what they were doing. And, my biggest complaint with DC for the longest time has been just give us an idea of what you're trying to do. They don't ever tell us. They refuse to tell us what they're doing. Why? Give us hope. Give us excitement. James Gunn is coming from a Marvel Studios that knows how to hype up its fans. And the crazy thing about it is, even if Marvel announces something today, and then 3 years later, they end up changing it, canceling it, or moving it further back, the fans accept it. They get a little upset, but they don't turn evil and toxic like DC fans can when something doesn't pan out like they want. And that's because they are pretty transparent to a certain point at Marvel. And James Gunn is coming from that. He understands that. That's one thing that makes me excited. We are in October of 2022 right now. By summer of 2023, Comic-Con, or maybe they redo DC Fandom for next year. But let's say San Diego Comic-Con. James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to walk out on that stage. You know how Feige walks out and puts the next 4 or 5 years on screen behind him? I would be shocked if we didn't get that from James Gunn and Peter Safran. We're finally going to have a future to look forward to with DC. That's all I've wanted for the better part of a decade. That's all I've wanted. I want to know what's coming. I want to know what I'm getting excited for. And they're going to do it. These two men will be able to do it. Is it Starsky and Hutch TV series? Oh boy. But that's like to me, yeah, Mez TV. He says it. They should have a full slate ready to show for San Diego Comic-Con 2023. There's no reason why they won't. You're giving them 8 months to put together a slate, to come up with some ideas. And honestly, quite possibly it's not going to be as big as something what Marvel does, because that's a lot of work to do over the course of the next 9 months or whatever it is. But when they're putting it together, James Gunn is going to direct probably 1 or 2 of those projects within there. And then I don't know. I truly believe that this is what's going to happen. Thanks, Mez, for the comment. Again, thanks, Ryan, for the comment. Thanks, Chase. I want to know, like, what is it? What are you hearing? What are you thinking about this? Is this good? Is this bad? Is this going to fall apart? Is it going to blow up in our faces? What do you think? Do you think that the tweets that James Gunn made more than 10 years ago, more than a decade ago, have any bearing on how he is to be received right now? I don't think he does. It does. I think we need to just forget it. He's apologized. The studios have forgiven him. The studios are ready to move forward with him. Not only did he come to DC after that, but Marvel took him back. I think we got to just put that aside, and I think we have to move forward. I just don't understand what people are so afraid of. Like, what is it possibly that they're afraid of with all this? What's the worst that can happen? Honestly, think about that right now. What is the worst that could happen with today, after today, with Gunn and Safran in charge? It's not going to get any worse than it is. Just think. Realistically, 5 days ago, we still had a DC universe with a headless Superman. 5 days ago. It did not become official that he was back in the DC universe until the release day of Black Adam. And then yesterday, Cavill announces to the world that he's back for the long term. So just 5 days ago, we didn't even have a Superman. Our excitement for what is going on here should just be growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. Mez, Peacemaker was critically and fan acclaimed. A small vocal few kept bringing up his old tweets. Look, I've admitted Peacemaker was not my favorite thing. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I enjoyed it. I watched it every week and I had fun with it. That's what it was. It was just fun. And the fact that it fit within the DC universe was pretty cool. I was not a fan of the faceless, just shadowy Superman at the end. That was probably the worst possible thing they could have done there. But I also didn't hate the interaction between Aquaman and Flash. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny. But you're right. It was critically and fan acclaimed. So the hate for Gunn, James Gunn made one of my favorite Marvel films. One of my top 3 favorite Marvel films in Guardians of the Galaxy. And any of you out there who are saying that they don't like the first Guardians of the Galaxy, do you even like movies? That film is fantastic. So I don't get it. I truly don't get it. Then you have people, like Grace Randolph, who I had to see what she had to say about this. Not only did she bash James Gunn in her latest video regarding this, and it was nonstop bashing, and obviously she has a bone to pick with him because he called her out on social media, on Twitter, a while back, and it was hilarious, and we all loved it, and we all laughed. But she also she compares him to Josh Whedon. She throws shade at Henry Cavill, saying that he has no allegiance to anybody. So basically saying that, you think he cares about Snyder? No. Now he's calling up James Gunn. He doesn't care about Snyder. Like, she's a complete clown, a complete tool, a complete grifter. And the fact that she acted that way on social media just baffles me. On YouTube, like, she legitimately called James Gunn a womanizer, called James Gunn a piece of shit on YouTube. That's what she did. Man. And this is where the toxicity comes in. Because you're going to have sects of fans. You're going to have people who are sitting there listening to this, listening to her, and just coming onto social media and regurgitating everything she says and all the negative thoughts and ideas that she puts out there. When realistically, we should be just jumping for joy. We finally have some movement with DC films. I have a reason to be excited again. I have not been excited for DC films for a number of months. Probably since before the Snyder Cut came out. Because why should we have been excited? I was still willing to give Hamada a chance. I was still going to check out all the films coming out, hoping that it would get me excited again. But to me, this is what we needed. This is exactly what we needed as a fandom. We needed somebody like this to come in and really, truly lead the way. He knows what he's doing. Let's see, what did some people say? Thrill, never buying any WB or DC while these two and Jeff Johns are at the studio. And here's the tweets. And it's absurd. It's disgusting that people just can't let go of things. They can't allow people to have second chances. To me, that's just it, that's inhumane. That's just, what's the point? Like, why are you so salty? Give people a second chance. He apologized. You can't make a good decision, can you? Listen to your customers. Bring back Zack Snyder. I'm telling you guys, this stuff here, this stuff right here, it's toxic. It's toxic. When news breaks, when something great comes out of DC, this is all you start to see on social media. Restore the Snyderverse. Bring back Zack Snyder. Restore the Snyderverse. Bring back Zack Snyder. Yeah, I want it to come back too. But I want DC to succeed. I want to be excited to go to the movies again to watch a DC movie. Is that so bad? Yes, we can still hope and hold out hope that Zack could one day return. Absolutely. But why would we do it at the detriment of getting any quality content? That's what just that baffles me. This stuff is just like, come on. People don't understand that things, not only were things different back 10, 15 years ago, but people grow, people change. I've done some ridiculous things in my life, in my past. We all have. It's how you move forward. It's how you learn from them when you get called out on it. One question that I know a lot of people are also wondering is, what does this mean for The Rock? Because there was a lot of discussion, a lot of talk, and we know that The Rock wants to be part of the decision making at DC, as well as Danny Garcia and what's the other guy's name? I can't. But his her producing partner or managing partner, they want to be part of DC's future, which absolutely all for it. Please, please move forward with it. But you have to remember, you have to have somebody at the head of the table. Just like Marvel. And this has happened more later through the process than early on. But Feige has started to trust over time the directors and the filmmakers to help guide the series. You want to know who one of those people were? James Gunn, the Russo brothers, Taika Waititi. Feige has trusted these filmmakers to help him flesh out the universe. They're going to utilize The Rock and Danny Garcia in the same way. They know, we all know how passionate Dwayne Johnson is with Black Adam. It took him 15 to 20 years to get this movie made. But now, at this point, he doesn't have to lead a studio. He can focus solely on that for DC. He's going to do other stuff, but he's going to put a lot of focus on Black Adam and making sure that he can help James Gunn and Peter Safran flesh out the ideas in the Black Adam side of the universe. That's exciting to me. Not that I wouldn't have wanted to see The Rock and Danny Garcia and some of his partners really take hold of the DC universe and run with it, but they don't have the experience. These two do. These two do. I don't know how many different ways I can sit there and say that this is a great idea. I really don't know. I really don't know. Again, let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts on all of this? Who do you think should be running DC Studios? If it's not James Gunn, who do you think it should be? If you think it should be The Rock and his team, do you think it should have been Justin Lin? Do you think it should have been Debbie and Zack Snyder? Who do you think it should have been? I'm curious. I want to know. You know, like, look. This is the stuff we're seeing on here. Does this mean the end of the Snyderverse? Why is that the first question? Why is that such a big deal right now? We shouldn't be worried about that. That's not what we should care about right now. Let things play out. Let us see what James Gunn is going to do. It's just... what else do we got here? Anything? Hey, W. And this is so true. This right here is so true. It's crazy to think that people are going this crazy over this. It's insane. Make sure you guys stick around tonight. Stay up a little bit late and get your ears and your brains, relaxed, listening to the Nicotina Show. Gonna be talking about the same stuff. He always has a great panel of people on his show where they really get to dive in and talk about stuff. It's been kind of difficult. I've been trying to get people on here with me, but nobody ever wants to come on. It's annoying. That's all right. What else do we got? I think that's at 11:30 is his show. I think it's 11:30 tonight. 11:30 Eastern time, that is. So definitely check out his show. I'm sure he'll have some great commentary on what's going on right now. A lot of people think that James Gunn is going to direct a Superman film. I mean, it's a possibility, but I think he has plans for other characters right now. And as I've said for a number of weeks now, I think they really need to call Christopher McQuarrie and be like, look, you're finishing up that Mission Impossible film. You're probably going to be done here within the next 6 to 12 months. You already have a script. Let us take it. Let us retool it. You can help us in retooling it a little bit to fit into our vision. But let's move forward with that. I think that would be the best route to go. Really would. Movie which was generally enjoyed, but the world reminded us if you're a DC fan, you have no right to be happy because this happened. And it's time to talk about and give my 2 cents. Again, as you can see, release the Ayer cut. Again, I want to see the Ayer cut. I think it's still going to happen. I think we have a good chance of seeing the Ayer cut still, but I don't know anymore. I'm sick of people feeling like they're entitled to what they want and only what they want. I want to see DC succeed. I want to see these characters come to life like never before. I want to be excited for a DC film. I want to know where things are moving. And I think this is the first time we're going to get that since the inception of the DCEU in 2013. I think that's it for me today, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think of all of this. Again, I love this big announcement, this big move. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what happens. The only crappy part about this whole thing is now we have to wait again. But we're waiting knowing that things are going to move in the right direction. So that's what's going to keep hope alive for sure. Let's see. Oh, we got another comment from Mez. Ever since I watched Shazam, I actually always wanted Peter Safran to take on the Feige role. Having James Gunn and him as a duo Feige role, I'm in. Exactly. And that's the crazy thing, Mez, is what people don't understand is the two of them together is going to be great. I'm not saying that Peter Safran doesn't understand the material, but we know James Gunn does, and we know that he does his homework. And with Safran, with the history he has and the producing credits that he has, and understanding the business on that side better than James Gunn does, The two of them together, I think, are going to make a great team. And I wouldn't be surprised if after this 4-year contract is up, one of them steps away. It could go either way after 4 years, and it could just be one of them moving forward. Or they could both stay or they could both leave. But I would not be surprised if one of them stayed and one of them walked away after their 4-year contract. So, yeah, I think it's a great move. I'm in. I can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. A lot of people are going to be mad, but that's okay. Let's just prove to them, let's be better. Let's stand up and cheer and root for James Gunn and Peter Safran to be successful and give us what we want. But everyone, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, smash subscribe, smash like, hit subscribe. I don't know, hit that notification bell as well to be notified every time we have a show. This week has been kind of cool. We've been having a few more shows than normal this week, so it's kind of cool. This isn't how it's always going to be, but I'm hoping to get to having more shows, more live shows on a weekly basis. I'm hoping I can get to that point here soon. The hosts, Robert Slavinsky, Ken Yombo, and Colton Bird, those two obviously couldn't be here today, but make sure you stick around at some point, come back, check us out. Both of them are great and have some great commentary on things that happen. Go ahead and scan that QR code for more from Bridging to Geekdoms. You can find all our social medias there, as well as so much more. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Comment down below what you think. What do you think? Did what I say change your mind? Did it solidify your decision in being excited or not excited? Do you think I'm a complete tool? Do you think I'm an asshole? Whatever. Leave it in the comments. I want to know. Hit that like button or hit dislike. I don't care. Hit either one. Just hit one of the buttons for me. With all that said, guys, I'll talk to all of you later.